Why? The properties, what will it be? It will be the attributes, normally, which I'm using. So that is really important. Then, disaggregation. I want to clarify terms, like employee and workers, or like female and male. I can write it with male and female in it. I can write it with M and F, or 1 or 0, or something else in it. Then what I have definitely to do is identifying object types and assigning them some properties, forming them, and in the end use one kind of representation. I can use UML, entity relationship model, or anything else, and to represent it. We will use here, for example, multi-dimensional entity relationship modeling. So, requirement analysis, first step. So, if we are making the information requirement analysis, what we are doing? The idea is we have to find out what is the most interesting for us, for example, in a process. So what are the steps in the process, in the procedure? What are key figures? What I have to find out? Or if I have something else, for example, if I have a procurement order, what I need for the procurement order? I need the product. I need, for example, how much I'm buying, from whom, what are the costs, what is the currency. All that can be important for us. So prices. Also, some dates can be important. For example, when I have bought it, when the stuff is coming to our factory, and so on. So all that stuff I need. Like here, the logical formation of business key figures to one or more factual criteria such as branch, product period, and so on and so on. Everything what I need. How I can do that? Oftentimes, I make an analysis or a preliminary inspection of customer needs. And what the techniques I'm using is oftentimes observation or questionnaire interviews and all that kind of stuff. Or I can use look into the literature and look what is needed for that. And then I write everything down. And especially, for example, if you make interviews and some stuff, never ask what does the user want. Every time ask what they are needing and ask the question why they are needing it. They have to explain it. Because the big problem in the information requirement analysis is to escape of the gap of what the people think they are needing to solve a problem versus what they're really needing to solve it. So that kind of gap. And so subjective versus objective information requirements. Also der subjektive versus der objektive Informationsbedarf, das uns genannt werden. So that is really important. And you can see it. I can use here like some checklists or something like that, and so on, and write everything down so that I have a document in the end and I can use it. If I have that kind of information, or you see also here, like in which level of details are the key figures needed? This is also an important question, because what we are not wanting in our database system normally, or in our BI system, we are wanting not all data. We want to have the scalability which is required and nothing more. So the main idea of our data warehouse was to put in the aggregated data which is 5 to 10 years old, to show why we have made that decision and so on. What we are not wanting in it is OLTP data, like data which is the last 60, 90 days only, and is really detailed so that it can see, for example, on which cash counter. I sold which products by which person on which time and so on. Was it a Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that? All that information, it's too detailed. We have to think about, is it important for us or not? Um, or here are future adjustment foreseeable. Did I know that I have to change something there? Then I should have that in mind, and I should be able to do that. That's why we also have the free. We should have free storage there. Then sometimes, if it's required. Then, if I have analyzed it a little bit, then I have to find, for example, key figures. What can it be? And I have to find, for example, a short title, a description. Something in some systems, there can be description, a long text, a short text, or for example, in SAP also a middle text. It's how it's defined. Is there a definition, or is this derived from something else? What kind of type is it? It's an amount, it's a quantity, it's a number, it's a digit, is what kind of currency is used, and so on. All that stuff I have to know. How it can look like. In a say it's a local currency, it could like here, like amount here is local currency, and it could be look like that, and there's a sum and average allowed. But for example, in the inventory, only that is allowed. And for example, who has created is sometimes also important. Could be. And you see also here, say it's a local currency, here inventory, and here you see the definitions and the description and then the definitions. Then one of the most important problems, or was it, for example, to create like here, are they multilingual? So, for example, it's a German car, in English auto, or no, it's in German auto and in English car, or is it something else? So, okay, to have it, to have multilingual support, or to support a hierarchy. For example, I have country, then I have the states, then I have that, the regions, then I have the cities, then I have the town or something like that, the cities. Okay, I have to show that hierarchy. Normally, due to that in a star schema, I have only fact table in the middle and around it dimension tables, which are connected to the fact tables. I can't do it. So that is exactly why SAP was saying, come on, a star schema alone is not working. We have to extend it. That's why they created the extended star schema, which is using like sold out keys towards something else, so that I have there small storage for multilingual support, hierarchy support, and also some text and so on, so that I can support all that. So attributes, for example, I can put attributes on it. For example, I can define for a student, he has the attributes. Oh, he has a surname, he has a name, he has an address, he has a student identification number, and so on and so on. And I want only to put it in, for example, one time, and then I want to load it and so on. So using also Stammdaten, Metadaten, and so on. So that's how it can look like. Here you have your attributes, like branch chief, region, country, city, the postcode, German Postleitzahl, and so on. All that I can have. But that is only possible due to that. Have it here is, for example, multilingual no, but it could be yes. For example, it's the city Köln in German. It is in English Cologne. So it has its own English name. It's not for all of the cities. Berlin is Berlin, but for example, München is Munich. Some cities have different kind of English names. So based on your interviews, observations, and so on, you can, for example, create something like that to find out what common dimensions I have, what I have to support, where I have, for example, the relations. But it allows you here, for example, to create, for example, an overview. You can use that. And in the end, you should be able to start or to be able to create a semantic scheme. Okay, that was the first part. And that is, this was only 45 minutes. I'm too fast. So, in the information requirement analysis, I hope you can see that I can use different techniques like interviews, questionnaires, observation, literature, and so on to create in the end a document where I find then what is in the data, what kind of data I have it. I can describe it. I can describe, for example, what can be, for example, dimensions, what can be facts, and so on, so that I can create in my mind like something what we have seen before. So something like what we have seen here. That is what I want to create. But not only that, because that is only an entity relationship model. Coming from an entity relationship model towards a multi-dimensional entity relationship model, I have to extend it. And you will see later, the extension is really easy, but that's why we are using it. It's only 5 elements which I'm adding to come from an entity relationship modeling towards a multi-dimensional entity relationship modeling. So 5 extensions, that's all. That is what we want to use like next week if you have no further questions, because that is the topic formally for next week. Are there any questions for the first step? So only I have explained here the requirement analysis. So in the next week, I would explain then disambiguation, like harmonization, and so on, all that stuff. Then I will talk shortly about object types, and then I will also talk about graphical representation, and then finish with logical and physical of these parts. Are there any questions? Gibt's Fragen? Oder ist das Thema so einfach, dass es keine Fragen von eurer Seite gibt? Kann ja auch sein. No questions? Nothing? So, if everything is so easy, then, for example, what you should do is, as a short homework or so, you can present it, for example, next week or 1 or 2 if you want, for example. Take anything what you want and try to create an entity relationship model. It can be the check-in in the airport. It can be a supermarket. It can be your football club or something else. Or it can be anything. Your workplace. It can be university. But try it out. Try entity relationship modeling, especially the 2 persons who answered with no. Get familiar with it. We have different notations like Chen, Crawford, and so on and so on. There are different kind of notations which you can use for entity relationship modeling. 1 second. As a small hint, I want to show you 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I want to show you. 1 second. And next week it will be easier because we will do it, but you can try it out. 1 second. It's not sharing that. Sharing now the other one, and now I want to share 1 second. I share. It's easier. So these are different notations, for example. You can hopefully now see. That is Chen. So that's really easy to explain and so on. Okay. And so there's a birthplace, there's only one location, and on the location I have one location, but more than one person can be born there. So I have n persons, but only one location, and so on. Because a person cannot be born at 2 locations. It's not feasible. Yeah, I know if you're in the aircraft and so on, normally you get both and stuff and so on, but you are born at one place, not at 2. The same you can use Idefix, for example, or Bachmann or Crowfoot. These are different kind of notations, or like UML and so on. I think Chan is really one easily to use. That was also what I have learned in my computer science study as first notation for an entity relationship modeling. But you can use anything, but really try it out. Try to model it, because we need that to extend it to multi-dimensional entity relationship modeling. That could be definitely something which it could be a question in the exams and so on. Or you can have an example and do something like that. I'm not knowing, I have not discussed it with Victor at the moment, but it could be something like that, what we normally asking. So try it out, or try out why is it so easy? Why, for example, people can understand that more easily. Why is modeling, for example, is used, and so on. Have that please in your mind. If there are no any questions, then okay, then it's that kind of way. Then we will finish here after an hour, and then I wish you a nice further Tuesday. We will have on Friday our normal stuff with Victor, so your normal exercises and so on. But please have in mind, we will do then next week, we will talk about